The 6 phases of fueling. Fuel is our lifeblood. Whether it is positive fuel from admiration, delight, and love, or negative fuel from hatred, anger, or upset, we must have fuel. There are many different ways in which we manipulate you, many different machinations, some wonderful and others terrible, that we will use against you to assert control over you and extract fuel from you. You see, the reason we like to do so many things directly with you and other appliances is that it invariably provides us with double bubble, control, and fuel. The various methods deployed appear during the 6 phases of fueling. Number 1, seduction, a period when everything is rosy in the garden. We are the most wonderful person that you could ever meet, kind, considerate, amusing and entertaining. We are generous with time or money, sometimes both. We are impressive in terms of our achievements, our abilities, the people that we know, the places that we have been, and we just happen to like all the things that you like as well, as we engage in our tried and trusted practice of mirroring. If we have chosen you to be our intimate partner, we will be gushing with love as we sweep you off your feet with borrowed love quotes, gifts, and sensational love-making. It is irresistible, and you will succumb to this intense love bombing, whether we want you as our partner in love, our friend, a trusted colleague, or reliable family member. Our seduction is powerful, effective, and is aimed at getting you under control, hooked on us, as we begin to drink of that positive fuel that you will provide to us during the requisite golden or bronze period. 2. Devaluation. In this second phase, we have found that your positive fuel has lost its potency. You are no longer providing us with the earnest and amazing admiration that we require, and this is entirely your fault. Or you are doing certain things which threaten our control. The consequence of this is that we must continue to draw fuel in order to sustain our existence, and now we must do so by asserting control over you, in effect by punishing you and extracting a contrasting fuel, negative fuel. This is derived by treating you badly, meting out such things as silent treatments, shouting at you, provoking you, and unleashing a whole malevolent content of our devil's toolkit against you. We want you to shout insults at us in anger. We want you to plead with us to stop our torment of you. We want to see you sob in desperation at our continued abuse of you. Remember that these desires are conscious within the greater and the ultra, and unconscious within the lesser or mid-range narcissist. Tears, frustration, anger, and hatred are all delicious emotions which will fuel us, and they provide such a magnificent and stark contrast to all the positive fuel that you once gave, that the effect for us is considerably edifying and invigorating. 3. Respite. We do not keep the devaluation in place all of the time, otherwise you will break too soon or flee, and thus, either way, this impacts upon our control and deprives us of fuel. Accordingly, the third phase is one where we allow you some respite from the devaluation. We reinstate the golden period, or bronze period, and you provide us with that relief-tinged positive fuel. This is of an excellent quality, as it is heightened by your relief and joy at returning to this golden or bronze period. It also allows us to convince you that the golden period can be resurrected, so that you won't leave us, and instead you keep trying to recover it. If you got it back once, then surely you can do it again, and you end up being duped by your own emotional thinking. We alternate between devaluing you and offering you respite, back and forth between these two states, which keeps you confused and thus makes you easier to control and pumping out that fuel. The contrast between treating you well and treating you badly also provides us with a greater degree of fuel, as your emotions are pushed and pulled by us. This phase can last for years as we move you back and forth. 1 week everything is wonderful, and then you are plunged into a fortnight, 2 weeks, of awful treatment, with you completely bewildered as to why this is happening. Number 4, preventative. You might be pushed to a point of no return. You may have received some outside help from a friend or a professional who understands what is actually happening to you. Or it may be that you do not know what is happening, but you know that something is wrong and you can't allow it to continue any longer. In such a situation, when you warn us in effect that you are thinking of leaving us or that you intend to end the relationship, we will instigate the preventative phase. This is designed to stop you from going, stop you from threatening our control any further, prevent the cessation of the fuel. We will provide you with a massive dose of the golden period, but we will also ally it with promises to mend our ways, seek help and change. With certain narcissists, thus might move further with regard to pity plays or the issuing of threat. We are the ones who decide when we no longer want you. You are not allowed to, in our minds, make this decision. By applying these preventative hoovers, which might be seeking pity, forgiveness, understanding and sympathy, we aim to stop your departure and then drink deep of the fuel that you will provide as you soothe away our concerns, offer apologies, offer reassurance, dedicate yourself to us, offer your admiration and thanks for the supposed changes that we will effect as you respond favourably to our stated intention to better ourselves. Your delight and joy at hearing us say these things to you provides us with further fuel from you. Number 5, the benign return. Whether you escaped us or we cast you to one side through one of our callous disengagements, we will also seek fuel through the benign return. Similar to the preventative stage, but this takes place after there has been a cessation in the relationship. You try to stay away from us, or you've been trying to get back with us, but we have kept you away for some time until we decide that we now want to assert control over you directly and we want your positive fuel once again. And we approach you, either just to hoover you for the fuel or to start up the relationship once again. Dependent upon the school of narcissist, the narcissist may seek forgiveness, may express that there's been mistakes made, false contrition, that we weren't thinking clearly, and so forth. All done, of course, to either consciously or unconsciously con you into resurrecting the relationship. If we ended it, you will return with joyful open arms. If you ended it, you'll return delighted that you have got us to agree to making changes to better ourselves. Of course, nothing permanently changes. It's all about getting you back under control and gaining the fuel. And we do so by returning in a benign fashion in order to get that favourable response from you, admiring us again, loving us again, expressing your love and gratitude, betraying relief, and thus we take all of this fuel. Number 6, the malign return. This also takes place post-cessation of the relationship. You may have ended it and resisted our attempts to hoover you back in via the initial grand hoover. We may have ended it and you wanted to return to the fold, but we wouldn't let you, as we had a replacement, and therefore we kept you away from us. In either instance, we will not ultimately forego the opportunity to assert control over you and extract additional fuel from you by the administration of terrible and hurtful manipulations against you through malign hoovers. Whether those malign hoovers are just for the purpose of asserting control in the instant and drawing fuel, or whether they form part of an attempt to draw you back into the relationship, either way, fuel is obtained. We may no longer be in a relationship, but this will not stop us from lashing out, lying about you, invoking the assistance of others as we smear your name and do everything we can on a repeated basis to cause you to become angry and upset and hurt and frustrated, and thus come under our control and provide us with fuel. You may not have heard from us for some time, but there will be some trigger, some opportunity, and whilst we may not want you back in a permanent relationship, or we might not even be able to cause you to come back into a permanent relationship, you still belong to us, and therefore we are entitled, through our perspective, to assert control over you, because we have to, and to obtain fuel from you, by way of an emotional reaction, by provoking you through a malign hoover. It is always about the control. It is always about the fuel. Fuel is the rule. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.